Hello, welcome to Man Friendly Church, a channel where we're going to help churches that are fed up with looking around and seeing 2/3 of the congregation are female. When you read the Bible, God made men and women equal, 50% men, 50% women. Why do we not have the same in church? So I've decided to start this channel because I was challenged by some friends we have who said, when I was talking to them about it, well, why don't you do something about it? So this is what I'm doing today. I'm starting this channel. I went through Sunday school. Then after I left school, I went to Bible college part-time, 3 evenings a week. Then I got married, moved to Basildon and joined the church here, which is the Assemblies of God in Basildon. I was very soon invited to join the leadership team. But I found all the way through my life attending church that some things are just not comfortable. And I thought there was something wrong with me. If somebody says from the front, oh, go and give somebody you don't know a hug and say hello to them, why should that be wrong for me to do? But I hated it. I also did not have the attention span of the proper Christians. You know, the proper Christians who are used to sitting through a sermon that goes on for an hour and a quarter, digesting all of it and enjoying it. I did not like that, and I thought it was something wrong with me. And then there was those times when things would be done that were just nice. There would be the service where somebody needed to be given a chance. We'd let them go and do the Bible reading and do it slowly and get it wrong. And I just felt uncomfortable. I'm thinking, why? Do things well. My job, I run a company that writes custom software for businesses. The first thing I do is understand what the customer wants, and then we make the software work the way they do. We don't make customers change their business to work the way our software works. But that's what we expect people to do when they come into church. And this does not work for the average man. A lot of churches are not man-friendly. If they come in, they feel embarrassed having to hug someone. They see people being prayed over and a load of people pushing really close, and they think, that's not me, I don't want this. Just simple things make life uncomfortable for men. And I'm thinking, this has got to be wrong. Then we had a new pastor join this church. Pastors Mark and Claire Barford, they took over the church and they basically brought in a new rule that I loved. They actually made a rule, church should be cringe-free. Nothing we do in church should make us cringe or embarrassed. If we had to apologise or explain it to new people, then it shouldn't be happening. People should be comfortable to come and enjoy themselves. That was the way I thought church should be done. For a while, I had been the one who was going against the normal way. At the time I started preaching, average sermon was about an hour to an hour and a quarter. I was a rebel. I kept my sermons to 45 minutes. Then Mark and Claire came in and they wanted us to aim for half an hour to 40 minutes maximum. I loved that. We were starting to make the church more man-friendly. Then we as a church started as a group of men to go up to Excel, which is a men's conference in Bradford, England. And things were so different. This was a man's world. Games, there were competitions, there were things to do, there was no fussing and niceness. There was just excellence and quality. Everything I wanted church to be was what I saw. And as for the years, with Mark and Claire running this church, and with myself on the leadership team with some other people, we've moved our church from being 2/3 female to about 50-50, give or take. And this is what I think the church should be everywhere. Is your church more women than men? If so, do you want to do something about it? While I was at Excel, I came across a book which I'd never heard of, and I thought this can't be true when I heard the title. The title of the book just struck a chord. why men hate going to church. And I thought, do they? And I thought, if I'm honest, at times I do hate going to church. There are things that happen in church that make me uncomfortable. So when a new man comes into the church for the first time, there are things he's going to see that will make him not want to come back. If he feels uncomfortable, if he feels things are just done okay, he's not going to want to come back. Is this better than sitting watching a football match on television on a Sunday? For most men, no. I'd got used to it. I had become what I call house trained. I'd got used to what is expected of me in church. So I just got to live with it and do things the way it was expected. I didn't know why I felt uncomfortable, but I lived with it. But then I started to read this book, and it said some things which really struck home with me. They were saying that men don't have as long an attention span as women. Well, great. That explains why I don't like long sermons. I'm not wrong. Men are not touchy-feely. They're not cuddly. I'm not wrong. And I started to find some things in that book that made me think, yeah, this is how church should be. And over the years in our leadership team, when we're talking about what we will do as a church, in the planning, I have been arguing, is this man-friendly or not? Sometimes I might have become a pain to the rest of the leadership team. But I think part of it has meant that the things we do mean that men are more likely to stay when they come in our building. And you can tell that because the average attendance in our church, once we get lockdown out of the way, we've got to look forward to that, we'll find it once again goes to about 50-50. I would like to ask you some questions. Are you on this channel because you think, is my church man-friendly? What's this about? Well, if you are, I would like to invite you to answer some of these questions to decide whether you want to subscribe to this channel. Do you want more men in your church? If the answer is no, I kind of like it the way it is, it's nice, it's comfortable, we do nice things, then fine. Don't bother with it subscribing to this channel. But if you think, maybe it would be a good idea, maybe if God created men and women equal, we should have an equal number in the church. So I challenge you, if that's so, you might want to subscribe. But I don't want people just to subscribe and nod their head and say, that's a nice channel, I like what he's saying. I'm looking for people who are actually going to subscribe to this channel, and as I lay some challenges on the table, that you will think, I will do something about this. So the question is, are you willing to do something about how friendly your church is to men? And then, of course, are you prepared to face people who are going to try and stop change? There are a lot of people who like church the way it is. They don't want change. They feel comfortable. But there are a lot more people who aren't. Are you willing to face up to them and in a positive way help them to see that it's good to go out and preach the gospel and reach more men, more women, more people for God by doing things to a level of excellence that is not embarrassing, that make people want to come back to church? So, if you're going to subscribe, I've got a few challenges for you to think about before you view the next video. If your church is doing an evangelistic service or a service where you're expecting more men who don't normally come to church, one challenge: let's avoid singing songs about being in love with Jesus. I love Jesus, my church loves Jesus, but in an evangelistic service and you've got a man coming in and he starts singing about being in love with a bloke he doesn't yet understand, that's not going to make it easy for him. Yes, I know the Bible talks about us being the bride of Christ, but I'm talking about making it easy for men to come to God. Let's not put them off at the start. And maybe if there's something going on in your church, try to keep off the stage people who are not good at what they're doing. If people need to train to speak in church, to read the Bible, maybe the home groups, the small groups, Sunday school, smaller events are where they get their training. And they've had some practice before they get into church. Make men think this is quality. Please don't share the peace in church. Don't tell everyone to go and hug someone. It's not good. It puts people off. And if you get men into the church, find something for them to do. Men are doers. If you've ever read the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, it's because men like to solve problems. That is the way men are built and designed. If you give men some problems to solve, they'll stick around to solve them. And they'll keep coming back. Damien, part of our church, who helped me with the design of the lights and everything to get this channel to work, who looks after all the video and some of the sound at our church, he partly joined the church because he came along and was able to get involved in technology. He comes from a technology background, so he stuck with the church, and over time he came to know Jesus. He made a commitment to God and is now part of our media team. And then the last thing I would like you to do is go out and order a copy of Why Men Hate Going to Church, which is by David Murrow. Get hold of that book, read it, digest it, but then do one more thing. Find someone in the leadership of your church and give them a copy. Challenge them to read it. If you do these things, you are taking the first steps to making your church man-friendly. Thank you. God bless.